You ever stop to think about just how much life is around us? The trees, the birds, the insects, the tiny microorganisms in the soil. Life in all forms, constantly moving, constantly interacting. It's something we often take for granted. But what if, one by one, those living things started disappearing? What if the forests went silent, the oceans became barren, and the air no longer smelled fresh after the rain? That's not just a scary thought. It's a real possibility. And it all comes down to something we call biodiversity, the variety of life on Earth, and the balance that keeps everything working. It's more than just having a lot of species. It's about how they interact to keep ecosystems and us alive. Biodiversity is why we have clean water, fresh air, food, medicine, and a stable climate. It's why the world feels alive. But right now, biodiversity is in danger. And with it, so is our future. Scientists estimate that species are disappearing at 1,000 times the natural rate, largely due to human activity. If this trend continues, the balance that supports life on Earth could be disrupted beyond repair. So what exactly is biodiversity? In simple terms, it's the variety of living organisms, plants, animals, fungi, bacteria, all working together in ecosystems. It exists at 3 levels. First, there's genetic diversity, which means even within a single species, individuals are different. Just like humans all have unique DNA. Then there's species diversity, the number of different plants and animals within an area, whether it's a rainforest or a backyard garden. And finally, ecosystem diversity, which covers entire environments like forests, deserts, oceans, and wetlands. Each level of biodiversity is crucial because it adds resilience. The more diverse life is, the more adaptable it becomes. But if that diversity shrinks, the balance starts to fall apart. Imagine a world with only one kind of crop. If a disease wiped it out, food supplies would be at risk. This is why protecting biodiversity is not just about nature, it's about survival. Most of the time, we don't realize just how much we rely on biodiversity. Take something as basic as food. Every bite we eat, whether it's rice, fruit, vegetables, or meat, comes from nature. Without biodiversity, our food sources become vulnerable. Imagine only having one type of wheat worldwide. If a disease wiped it out, millions would starve. And then there's water. Forests and wetlands act as natural water filters, keeping rivers and lakes clean. Destroy those ecosystems, and suddenly fresh water becomes a lot harder to come by. Even the air we breathe, most of our oxygen comes from trees and oceanic plankton. Without them, there's no life. It's that simple. In fact, over 50% of the oxygen we breathe is produced by tiny marine organisms called phytoplankton. So when we damage the oceans through pollution and climate change, we are directly threatening our own oxygen supply. And here's something a lot of people don't think about: medicine. Some of our most important treatments come from nature. The aspirin we use for pain, it originally came from willow tree bark. Penicillin, one of the most important antibiotics ever discovered, came from a type of fungus. And scientists are still finding new plants and animals with properties that could cure diseases. One example, a fungus found in Canada has shown promise in fighting bacteria that no longer respond to normal antibiotics. But here's the catch: if we keep destroying ecosystems, we might lose species before we even discover their benefits. Right now, only about 1% of rainforest plants have been studied for their medicinal properties, meaning we could be losing life-saving treatments without even knowing it. And it's not just about what we take from biodiversity, it's also about what it gives back. Healthy ecosystems act like shields against climate change. Forests, wetlands, and oceans absorb carbon dioxide, reducing the impact of global warming. When we cut down trees or destroy natural habitats, that stored carbon gets released into the atmosphere, making the problem worse. And then there's extreme weather. Coral reefs protect coastal areas from storms. Mangroves reduce flood damage. Forests help prevent landslides. Every time we remove a piece of this natural protection, we expose ourselves to more climate disasters. Scientists predict that half of the world's coral reefs could disappear by 2050 due to rising temperatures and ocean acidification. There's another surprising connection here. Biodiversity helps prevent disease. Sounds strange, right? But think about this. In a balanced ecosystem, predators keep populations of disease-carrying animals, like mice and mosquitoes, under control. But when we remove those predators, by destroying habitats, disease-carrying species multiply. And that's a big deal. Around 75% of new infectious diseases in humans come from animals. Deforestation and habitat destruction force animals into closer contact with humans, increasing the risk of viruses jumping from wildlife to people. It's happened before. SARS, Ebola, and even COVID-19 all had links to animals. Protecting biodiversity isn't just about saving wildlife. It's about protecting human health. Now, let's talk about biomes. Large regions of the world with specific climates, plants, and animals. Each biome plays a unique role in biodiversity. Deserts have species that conserve water, like cacti and camels. Rainforests, which make up just 6% of the Earth's surface but hold over 50% of its species, are full of life, from jaguars to tree frogs. In the Arctic, polar bears and seals have adapted to survive in freezing temperatures. When we lose a biome, we don't just lose a species living there. We lose a piece of Earth's ability to function. So why is biodiversity disappearing? The biggest threats come from us. Human activities. We cut down forests for farming and cities. We overfish the oceans. Pollution poisons water and air. And climate change is making it harder for species to survive. The result? We're in the middle of what scientists call the sixth mass extinction. Species are disappearing faster than ever before, all because of human impact. And if we don't act soon, the consequences could be irreversible. But here's the good news. There's still time to make a difference. We can protect natural habitats by creating wildlife reserves and restoring forests. We can reduce pollution by cutting down plastic use and cleaning up our oceans. Sustainable farming and fishing can ensure we don't deplete natural resources. And tackling climate change by using renewable energy and reducing carbon emissions will help protect ecosystems. Even small actions count toward supporting conservation efforts, choosing sustainable products, and spreading awareness all add up. Imagine a world where biodiversity thrives, where forests are lush, oceans are full of life, and people live in harmony with nature. That's not just wishful thinking, it's a future we can create if we start making changes now. Biodiversity isn't just about saving animals and plants. It's about saving ourselves. Every species lost is a piece of our planet's balance disappearing. Every ecosystem destroyed makes life harder for future generations. But if we act together, we can protect the incredible diversity of life on Earth. The question is, what will we choose? Will we protect biodiversity? Or will we watch it fade away? The future is in our hands. Let's make sure it's a future worth living in. Thank you for watching. If you found this insightful, don't forget to share it and help spread awareness about biodiversity. See you in the next video.